Welcome to Kids Church. Oh, actually, sorry, excuse me a minute. We're just before I begin to tell you, I really need to tell you. Tomorrow, will you go do some shopping for me? I'll do Kids Church, but just I need to remember to tell you
But
that.
I wouldn't know what you want.
I'll give you a list.
But I wouldn't have any money.
I will give you the money as well.
But what if I went to the shop and they didn't have it?
It's only stuff like bread and milk. They're bound to have it.
Yeah, but what if I couldn't find it?
Just ask one of the assistants. They're there to help you.
Look, could you not just send somebody else?
Really? Do you ever make excuses? And really, you just don't want to do something? So you come up with all these excuses, reasons why it sounds good reasons why you shouldn't do it, but actually, it's just because you didn't want to do it. Well, you're saying no, you've never made excuses. What about, oh, your mum doesn't agree. Has your mum ever told you to tidy your room, but suddenly you had to do your homework?
His legs.
Oh, his legs? Oh, okay. Okay, we'll hear about all those excuses later. So you see, you do know what I'm talking about. You make excuses when there's things that you don't want to do sometimes. So today we're going to hear how Moses came up with some excuses for something that he didn't want to do. Do you remember Moses? We started hearing about Moses last week, and you'll remember that Moses was one of the Israelites, but he was brought up living in a palace as an Egyptian prince, and then when he grew up, he didn't really feel happy there. He knew that he didn't fit in, so he left. And we heard as well how Moses killed one of the Egyptians because they were being so cruel, and they were slave drivers and making the Israelites work really hard, and they were nasty to them, and Moses killed one of them. Then Pharaoh heard about it, and Pharaoh wanted to kill Moses, so Moses ran away, and he was living in a place called Midian. So now we're going to take up the story of Moses again. So Moses is still in Midian. By now he's got married, and he works as a shepherd, looking after the sheep that belong to his father-in-law. So one day, Moses was out on the mountains looking after the sheep. It was just an ordinary day like any other. The sheep were there eating whatever grass they could find, and Moses was sitting on a rock watching them. And the next thing happened was a bit strange. Moses saw a bush, and the bush was on fire, slick as ever. The bush was on fire, and that was a bit strange, but you know, sometimes it did happen. This was a hot, dry country, and sometimes things would just burst into flames with the heat of the sun. And when that happened, if a bush was on fire, after a few minutes, maybe half an hour, the bush had disappeared and all was left was a pile of ashes. But this day was different. This bush was burning. It was on fire, there were lots of flames, but there was no ashes. It kept on burning, but the bush was still there. It wasn't being destroyed. The flames were there, but the bush wasn't getting burnt up. So Moses was curious. He wanted to see what was actually happening. So he went over to have a look at the burning bush. And he was getting closer to the fire. He had to cover himself and trying to peer in, when suddenly
Moses!
A voice from the middle of the bush. Moses said, "Here I am."
Don't come any closer. Take off your shoes. This is holy ground. I am the God of your fathers, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob.
Sorry. Sorry. At that, Moses he hid his face because he knew it was God, and he didn't want to look at God. He was so afraid. He didn't know it was God. And God said to him, "Moses, I have seen how unhappy my people, the Israelites, are. I've seen how cruel the Egyptians are being to them, and I have come to rescue them. I've come to set them free, and I'm going to bring them out and take them to a new land. I promise that I will give them a new land that has lots of space for all of their flocks. There will be plenty of food and supplies for everyone. Now, Moses, I want you to go and tell Pharaoh to set my people free." Well, Moses thought, did I just hear that right? Me? So Moses said, "But God, why me? Who am I that you would want to send me?"
But Moses, I will be with you.
Well, Moses said, just say I do go. And I go to speak to the people and I tell them all the things that you have said to me. And what if the people say to me, really? God was talking to you? Who is this God? What's his name? What will I say?
Tell them, I am. I am has sent you, the God of your fathers, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob. Tell them that all that I have said about the good land I have promised to bring them to and to give to them. The elders and the leaders will believe you.
But God, what if they don't really believe me?
I will give you the power to do 3 miraculous signs to prove to them that I am with you and you are telling the truth. Now, Moses, throw down your shepherd's staff on the ground.
And Moses threw his staff down onto the ground. As soon as it hit the ground, it turned into a snake. Well, Moses was a bit frightened at that, but God told him to pick it up again. So he picked it up, and immediately it became his staff again in his hand.
Now, Moses, put your hand inside your cloak and bring it out again.
Moses did what he was told again, and this time his hand was covered in a disease called leprosy. So quickly he put his hand back inside his coat, brought it out again, and it was pure and healed.
And finally, Moses, if you take some water from the river Nile and throw it on the ground, it will become blood.
Well, even with all these 3 signs that God was going to enable Moses to do, Moses said, but God, you can't send me because I don't really speak very well. I get nervous and I stutter and I stumble and I get my mixed words all up.
Moses, I made you. I give you a mouth and a tongue, and I will help you to speak and give you the words to say.
But God, could you not just send somebody else? Well, now God was angry, but he said, okay, Moses, I will send your brother Aaron with you. I let him go. I will tell you the words that I want you to say to Pharaoh. You can tell Aaron, and Aaron can do the talking. So Moses and Aaron went off to speak to the people first of all. And they told the people all about what God had said, how he had promised them a new land, and he would take them away from the Egyptians who were being so cruel. Moses showed them all the signs that God had enabled him and given him the power to do. And the people believed and they worshipped God. It hadn't happened yet. They were still slaves in Egypt. But now they had heard from God. Now they had a promise from God. So they worshipped God. Now next week we're going to find out what happens when Moses and Aaron go to speak to Pharaoh. Will Pharaoh believe them too? Will Pharaoh let the people go? We'll find out next week. But for now, if God ever gives you something to do, if God ever asks you to do something, don't make excuses. Let's trust him and do it, knowing that he will be with us to help. And you know, while we're here on earth, things happen. Life isn't always easy. Sometimes hard and difficult things happen. But we have a promise from that very same God. We have a promise of a better life, a promise of a perfect life in heaven for those of us who believe. I'm going to sing. And we're going to sing a song. We've sung it before, but it was a long time ago. But it's very easy. Okay, it's good news. It will be. Good news, if I believe. We'll get it up here just to be sure. Good news, Christ died for me, that's what it is. Good news, if I believe. Good news, I'm saved eternally. That's wonderful, extra good news. Now, you might notice the word extra is in red. And I know when you come to church, moms and dads always say, shh, sit, be quiet, shh, quiet. But extra is in red, because you're allowed to shout. Okay, this is the open, well, it's not going to be telling this church that you're allowed to shout, have to back. But, okay, so I want you to shout the word extra, okay? We'll do it through a couple of times, because it's a long time since we've sung, alright?
Good news, Christ died for me. Good news, if I believe. Good news, I'm saved eternally. That's wonderful. wonderful. Extra!
I didn't hear very good show.
No, we're singing either.
I think we'll do this.
I'm working some great tune. But anyway. Okay, so I know you kids know it, but it's not hard, sure it's not? Okay, so get ready for that word extra now. I want to hear everybody shout. Come here to brother.
Good news, Christ died for me. Good news, if I believe. Good news, like Savior me. That's wonderful.
I think the first time we were teaching it to them.
Right.
Now they know it, so now they can enjoy it.
All right, okay.
Right?
Good news, that's time for me. Good news, if I